Well, here we are now in downtown. The city, Vancouver. We're only just literally over the border from Washington State, but the people here completely different. You can't even describe the difference as you simply come over the border. Most people here are fit, well, and fundamentally a completely different species than the Americans, which is where I've just come from. Like America, obviously the cities themselves are very clean, but it is a completely different feeling. Well, let's go for a simple walk round the city of Vancouver. Even here, going through the bins is something people do, as there's money back on all the cans, and it's a way of making a money when times, or should I say, difficult. Everybody I seem to see in the cafes in the streets seems to be predominantly Asian. port area, waterfront. Autumn, the leaves have fallen off the trees, and I can smell debt in the air for almost everybody. Beautiful places. Prices. The last restaurant I went into, afternoon tea. Place at the Port of Vancouver. The Fairmont waterfront. Let's go and have a look inside and see the grandeur. I can't imagine what it costs to have a room at this hotel. Asian children, beautiful maps, and the concierge, absolutely beautiful. But you have to enjoy debt, or you have to be reasonably wealthy. I was looking at the parking costs at this hotel. First hour $18.50, 2 hours $27, 3 hours it was $36.50, and for 5 hours $45. Well, as I say, you need to be reasonably wealthy. And here it really is the port. Container ships, containers within a stone throw of the vastly expensive hotels and restaurants. Mountains beyond, helicopters parked up along the bay. As I say, welcome to Vancouver, where as a newcomer you will be in debt for the rest of your life, and you will pass that debt to your children. The Canadian Vancouver World Trade Center. Pan Pacific Hotel. Another Beautiful place. Bay, waterside, and of course subways and many other conglomerates of the world dominated what we eat, drink and spend our money on, and the mountains beyond. Yes, it's a beautiful place, a beautiful place. But do we really want to be in debt for the rest of our lives? Do we need to be in debt for the rest of our lives? And really, you can buy yourself a good home in some of the finest countries in the world for $30,000. Have a mortgage for 1 or 2 years and live the rest of your life in perfect harmony with every paycheck coming every month into your own pocket and not that of the conglomerates. Here you can see the port, the mountains, big ship port, and around to where people keep their yachts, and of course a little place where you can go and hire a plane and go around the mountains. So now I'm off down to the gym palaces and the big yachts and the planes to show you what's going on. Oh, and of course move past the Asians. When I'm walking around the harbour side, past subways, past the girls holding hands and the boys holding hands, and it's all just totally normal. After all, it's a modern world. We're expected to be in debt for the entirety of our entire life. We're expected to conform. We're expected to eat our takeaways. We're expected to be in debt. I asked at the hotel how much it was for 2 people for the night. I was told it was just over $400. Well, for $400 you could fly across from Canada to Europe and return for the same price. Here, obviously, that's just one night stay. Oh, and sir, that doesn't include breakfast. You see, today you can live in countries where healthcare is part of the service. You can buy yourself a beautiful home for, let's say, $40,000. You grow your fruit and veg on your 2-acre plot. You have your chickens and your sheep, and then of course you're still earning the same money as what you would in Vancouver. But then you decide you want to fly over to Vancouver to experience the metropolis wonderland. But you can do that with just a small amount of money, less than half of the mortgage payment that you would pay here for your apartment that the ground underneath you'll never own. There is no green grass, and you can't grow your vegetables. Why is it that people choose debt over life and families, an environment, and a tranquil place to be, where you and your family can own the plot and the home for the rest of eternity, with no debts, no ground rent, no mortgages, no nothing, and visit the places you want to go to? So for the first time you live in Vancouver for a week, 2 weeks, it's so exciting. But of course, you can go back home. Well, here we are at the plane port, where you can have a harbour-side view from the air. And then we'll go off and look at the yachts. One plane after another taking off from this spot. Helicopters in the air, the mountains behind. And now we walk down to where the wealthy are mooring their yachts. You see all these large skyrise buildings. These are not offices, these are living accommodation, where you can come and live and buy or rent and pay an amount every single month for the entirety almost of your life. And when you die, your children can take it on and pay the money every month, or you can hand it back, remembering that every time you get to work on a Monday morning, the cost of one of these apartments would probably take you up to almost midday Thursday just to pay your costs of living, before such time as you have money in your pocket to spend and enjoy. Another plane takes off with somebody who's, to them, having a ride of their life that they'll never forget. As we walk walk on down the waterside. The police and the ambulance are helping a homeless man. Where there's the rich, there's also the poor. And where there's the rich, then there's the people who think they're rich. They live in a 3 million home with 2.8 million loan. They hire their Teslas and their servants. Well, here we are, where the rich or their yachts, their gym palaces, here at the waterside in central Vancouver. There, of course, to show that they are so wealthy. But I wonder how often they actually use them. After all, let's just show that we're wealthy. Not that we're happy in our hearts, necessarily. But of course, we've got the biggest yacht, or we've got the flashiest yacht. But are you happy when you go home? Are you happy with what you do? And after all, liquid nickel. Just look at those apartments. And then of course you buy an apartment thinking you've got a sea and mountain view, and then suddenly the land next door comes up for sale and you find that your view's blocked for the rest of the living days, or however long you decide to go on living in your apartment. Well, that's my running of downtown Vancouver. It's a place be nice to come and visit once in your life. But of course, if you live a life of freedom, like there are many people in the world, a beautiful home, $20, $25, $30, $35,000 home, you had 2 hectares of land, she paid off within the first year of working, then all of these wonderful cities and these city metropolises, of course, you're able to come to and enjoy. You have 6 weeks holiday a year, and you have a different city that you decide to travel around the world for each one of those 6 weeks. After all, the cost of being able to do that is little if, of course, you're not having to pay to live in one of these metropolises in the cities of our world. You can go and do that with just very small amount. To go all the way across the world and to spend a week in a new city, say Bangkok for instance, 2 people might end up costing you $1,000. Yeah, in many of these apartments it's costing $2,000 to $2,500 just for your rent rates or for your mortgage for a month. The choice, of course, is yours. Isn't it so nice to be able to get up in the morning and pick the fruits of your own garden? To be able to go out into your vegetable patch and pull some fresh carrots. Talk to your dog that's running around and the cats meow. Or live on a high-rise apartment that will never be your home because you'll never own the ground beneath, and you'll never have to stop paying, of course, for your rent and rates or mortgage. As I walk along this boulevard between the harbour side and central Vancouver, the grass is green and beautiful on each side of the walkway, until you go down and realise that even though it's beautiful grass, it's made of plastic. No need to cut the grass because it never grows. Plastic grass on a false society. Incredibly, should I say, surreal. And there is some old block of housing which will one day be purchased by a developer who will change that housing into a high-rise flat and stop all of the flats behind from ever being able to see the harbour side again. I'm not disputing the fact that this plastic grass looks nice, and I presume most people that walk along here don't even notice that it is plastic. To them, it's how beautiful Vancouver is. Oh, and of course, don't forget to clean up after your pet. When my dogs and cats decide to go to the toilet, they do it in the forest or on my own land. I don't have to clean up after my dogs and cats because the ground they walk on is freedom for everyone, or we own it, and it is our home for as long as we want, and in the end that could be eternity. Welcome to Vancouver.